Blast out to the pack. It is Pack here,
AKA your mama's best friend, your daddy's worst nightmare.
So, in NBA 2K22, there's a roster that I want to show you guys. It's basically predicting the NBA 2K23 ratings. I'm going to cover it, how to download it, and if I agree with it or not. Before this video starts, if you like this kind of content when it comes to ratings and NBA 2K23 news, join the pack and subscribe because I'm the #1 channel that does that. Let's get the video started. So, if you go to NBA 2K22 and go to user-created rosters on PlayStation 5, NBA 2K23 early by XV Clutch Ox is where you're going to find this, I guess, roster. So I'm going to download it right now. I'm going to go one by one by the teams and see the changes and see if I agree with them or not. This one should be a pretty close one. I already disagree. So they have the 95 overall Joel Embiid, no change for him. I disagree with this personally because I felt like he was as good as Jokic, and even though Jokic won MVP, who's a 96 overall, I feel like Embiid is in the conversation with him as best center in the NBA. I feel like he should be tied with him. And then Tyrese Maxey should be an 86 overall because he is way better than 84 throughout the year and the playoffs. Everyone else is kind of relevant to me because they're all kind of mid, but for the most part for the Sixers, that's what I feel mostly. For the Milwaukee Bucks, I feel like Giannis should be the best player in the NBA rating wise. I'm okay with this, and I'm also okay with Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton being tied. But I really feel like Giannis should have the highest rating in 2K, which should be a 97 overall. We'll see who he has as the highest rated player, but so far, I need him to be higher. Bobby Portis being the 80 overall club's good. Overall, this one's also pretty decent, but it's just that you could say what you want about having these two players tied, but I do think that Drew Holiday had a pretty good season last year, so it's debatable. For the Bulls, DeRozan is still way higher than Zach LaVine. After that performance in the playoffs by DeMar DeRozan, I really don't think DeMar should have that high of a rating. I've always felt that way. We know that he fails in the playoffs, so I don't care how good he does in the regular season. If he is consistently bad in the playoffs, he should have the rating determining. So I feel like he should be an 89 overall. Was like Zach LaVine has like an 88, and that would be fair. Everyone else seems pretty accurate to me. Maybe Patrick Williams could go up a little bit, but that's it. For the Cavs, man, he dropped the Cavaliers ratings hard. Okay, Darius Garland was up to an 88, I believe, and Jared Allen was an 86. That one's hard because they barely missed the playoffs, but they missed the playoffs because of the new play-in tournament rules. I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like Jared Allen should at least still be up to an 86, and then maybe Garland has an 87. For the Celtics, Jason Tatum 92 overall, Jaylen Brown 90. I think this is absolutely fair. Marcus Smart being the third best player is fire. This man knows his basketball. Thank you very much, because they used to have Robert Williams as the third best player. And even though Robert Williams is great, and he's right there as the fourth best player, I think probably higher than Al Horford. Marcus Smart was the third best player this year on the Celtics as Defensive Player of the Year, who was also the third leading scorer of the team. For the Clippers, it's kind of hard to tell. I'm glad that he put Reggie Jackson as the third best player. What bothered me about the Clippers last season is that I felt Reggie Jackson was clearly the best player in the regular season for this team because Paul George and Kawhi were hurt, so we didn't get to see the team in its full. But Reggie Jackson was the best player on the team throughout the regular season. Norman Powell was added later in the year, and I think Norman Powell was better than Reggie Jackson. So I think Reggie should be like an 80 and Norman Powell be an 82. But in terms of everyone outside of their big three, Reggie Jackson should be the best player. For the Grizzlies, I personally have no beef here. I think this is pretty accurate. They dropped John Morant from a 94 to a 92, but I think that's still fine. I think that's okay. I don't have a problem with that at all. The Hawks, Trae Young up to a 92. I don't know. Do I think Trae Young's as good as John Morant? That's tough. They both do different things really well. I'd argue John Morant's been doing it a little better than Trae by 1, so maybe like Trae Young a 91 overall. But besides that, that's how I feel. For the Heat, nah, no beef here with this either. I think this is also pretty accurate. Everyone here's pretty much how I feel. LaMelo Ball up to an 89 overall is pretty damn high for a player that hasn't got his team to a playoffs and is like statistically good, but I wouldn't say it's statistically great. I think he's like an 87. That's where he should be, personal opinion. But besides that, the rest of the team, maybe Terry Rozier a little higher, like maybe above Gordon Hayward, but besides that, pretty accurate. For the Jazz, man, I don't know for the Jazz. This one's kind of weird too. I'm okay with it, but then again, I'm more upset with the Jazz and how they're like underperforming every season, not necessarily the ratings. For the Kings, interesting. So they put Sabonis over De'Aaron Fox. Now statistically, Sabonis was way better than Fox in the season, so realistically, he should have a higher rating. It's just that De'Aaron Fox, we know potential-wise is going to be a lot better of a player. So that one's kind of like an up-in-the-air one. I think if they were above an 85, I would have been okay with it. Man, the Knicks ratings are so low, but it's fair. I mean, RJ Barrett's the best player. I think so. Julius Randle went down so hard. Mitchell Robinson being only a 77 is kind of disrespectful because he's It's like Robert Williams with a player that's not putting up crazy stats, but he's a great defender, right? So I don't know why his rating went down so much. Besides that, also Derrick Rose, well, I can see why Derrick Rose's rating and Kemba Walker's rating is so low. So that's pretty fair. I think Obi Toppins is a little low though, because he had a pretty good regular season in the second half of the year. But yeah, for the Lakers, LeBron at a 95 is pretty low. I'd still feel like he's a 96, maybe even a 97 with Giannis and Curry. Westbrook up to an 82. He's back in the 80 overall club, which I also think is correct. I think he was clearly the third best player on the team, but they were trying to make it seem like he was worse than Carmelo Anthony, which I thought was crazy. So this is pretty accurate. Honestly, this is one of the more accurate Laker ratings I've seen ever. Magic, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Who cares? No offense to you Magic fans, but this team's not good, and they're gonna be completely different next season. Then who knows? It doesn't matter. So for the Mavericks, this one's kind of wild. They put Christian Wood 2 ratings down to match Jalen Brunson. I think this one's wild. I think Christian Wood's gonna be the second best player easy. So that's crazy. No real big change for the Nets. They have KD. Tyler Giannis is the best player, I think, so far. We'll find out if it changes with Jokic, but so far so good. But a decent rating so far. I think this one's fine. Jokic 96. So I think he's going to have no one as a best player. I think he's going to have it tied with like KD and Giannis and Jokic. Okay. At least he's being consistent about it. Jamal Murray's going to come back. Michael Porter Jr. is going to come back. And this team's going to look a lot better than last year when Aaron Gordon was your second best player. Pacers. You know, this team, I've never seen Miles Turner be looked at as the best player on the Pacers, but that's what it's looking like here with Tyrese Halliburton. Okay, there's definitely something there. Malcolm Brogdon also on the team. I could see these ratings for sure. I like that they downgraded TJ Warren from an 82 to this because he hasn't played in like 2 years. Pelicans. This team looks so crazy on paper with Zion, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, and Jonas Valanciunas. You could argue that Brandon Ingram should be tied with CJ McCollum, but besides that, this is pretty accurate ratings. Maybe even Herb Jones should go up to like a 79. For the Pistons, Cade Cunningham being the best player on the team, it makes sense, especially next season where he's going to get a lot better. It's going to make sense. Sadiq Bey being pretty low, though, feels weird. So this definitely feels weird, but I couldn't tell you much about it, to be fair. For the Raptors, Pascal Siakam being the best player on the team by far is on brand. This team on paper is pretty good with Pascal, Fred VanVleet, OG, Scotty, and Gary Trent Jr. all in the 80 overall club is pretty accurate and pretty fair. The Rockets, oof, I feel like Jalen Green should have tied with John Wall because I don't think Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green should be tied. So besides that, this is fine. Spurs, I feel like Keldon Johnson was being pretty good at the second half of the year, and I think he should be like an 82 minimum. But besides that, I have no beef with these ratings, to be honest with you. Maybe Vassell should be like a 77, 78, maybe. So Booker being way better than Chris Paul is accurate to me. Now, Devin Booker being a 92 overall is pretty high, maybe like a 91 to a 90, because Devin Booker's not better than Jason Tatum, at least in my opinion, and that's what he's trying to say. But he's still pretty damn good and should be high. With this, I have no beef. I don't know how I feel about Josh Giddey over Lou Dort right now, but besides that, it's fine. Great ratings for the Timberwolves. Cat deserves a high rating like that. Anthony Edwards deserves a high rating. And he actually updated Anthony Edwards' face scan, which is crazy. And D'Lo has a fair rating. I think this is pretty good. Trailblazers, they upgraded Anthony Simons. Jeremy Grant's on this team. I think this one's also pretty fair, to be honest. I don't disagree with this one at all. Wait, I didn't know. Man, this guy's quick on roster updates. Just an hour ago, Jeremy Grant got traded to the Blazers. And I didn't even notice until right now. What the heck? I was confused because I was like, where's Jeremy Grant on the Pistons? And now I'm looking at it here and he's on the Blazers. I didn't know that. That's crazy. Okay. So Jeremy Grant would be the third best player tied with Anthony Simons. At least it looks like Lillard's going to have a little better of a team next season. That's good. Curry only being a 95? I don't know about this, man. I feel like he should be a 97 and Giannis should be a 97. I also don't know how I feel about Clay being higher than Wiggins. According to the playoffs, it's not true. Poole should be like an 83. And besides that, I agree with Draymond's rating. And then Wizards, yeah, this is also pretty accurate as well. Everyone seems in line. That's this roster. I just think it's, for the most part, pretty decent and exciting to show off for the new 2K. And he's updating it when there's new trade deadlines. So check it out. If you like this kind of content, please give it a sub. I'll see you guys next time.